Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio MLB Closing Time Show. It is Monday, August the 30th. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, and our Monday special guest, Skee Profit, with us as we're ready to break down the Monday MLB card. We are in the true dog days of the MLB season. The home stretch, we've got a month left in the regular season, and we've got basically, the toughest part of the year, at least in my opinion, to handicap. But every day we'll do the absolute best we can and try to see if we can steer this ship in the direction of some winners here on the baseball board each and every day. Of course, this show now on Mondays, this is going to be the time moving forward. So we'll be Monday to Friday at the same time, weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific. So make sure you join us for the MLB Closing Time Show, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's get to it. We've got St. Louis, Cincinnati, John Lester, Luis Castillo, the pitching matchup here. Cincinnati minus 205 home favorites here at Great American Ballpark, 9 the total in this game. I guess you could say John Lester's made some strides forward, positive improvements in recent starts. I wasn't saying much. There's a lot to improve from the way he had been pitching before, but 2 of his last 3 starts have been of the quality, well, not quality because he only went 5 innings, but 1 run and 7 hits against Detroit in his last start. Pitched well against Kansas City as well, a couple starts back. But I'm certainly not in a rush to back the Cardinals with Lester on the mound. We've got Luis Castillo for the Cincinnati Reds, who has been largely since the early part of the year been pitching a lot better for this team. And as the track record against St. Louis, that's a mixed bag. You go back to April, guys, Luis Castillo was crushed by St. Louis. 14 runs in 8.1 innings. It doesn't look good, right? Well, his last 2 starts, really when we've seen the better Castillo on the mound, we've seen him shut down St. Louis. In June, 1 run in 6 innings. And then last month he faced St. Louis, 1 run, 5 hits in 7 innings. So during this period of time where Castillo's been a different pitcher, which he has been in the second half, we've seen him pitch better and shut down the Cardinals here. So I guess if I were to bet this game, I'd look Reds in some form. I am on the team total over. I am hell-bent on fading Lester still. And the team total, 4.5 with juice at some spots, 5.5 shaded to the under at some other spots. So make sure you shop around because as far as the Reds team total goes, you're getting a split line here. Some books have it at 4.5 with juice. Others have it 5.5 at a plus price. But I do like the Reds team total over here. In this game with Lester on the mound against this Reds team in this ballpark too. I don't necessarily think it's a favorable matchup here for John Lester. So the Reds team total is what I'm going to stick to in this one. And we've already got the donations rolling in. Insane, guys. Every day, the generosity, the appreciation of the work and the shows that we do, it goes without saying how much we appreciate it. Thank you, Tony Cobbs and company for the dono. Boston Nick as well throwing in a dono. Wow, incredible. Good stuff for that.
I don't know if that's even how that song goes, but I know what song you're talking about, Boston Nick.
I know. That's definitely a song reference. I could tell when I saw that comment. So Boston Nick kicking some lyrics in the chat here on the MLB.
3-6 girl, damn girl fat. Yeah. I got one more time. Get low.
Yeah. That's the one. There it is. I knew it was from like a hip hop song when I was in high school, and that is Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Get low.
From the window
to the window to the wall to the sweat down my balls. That's no truer statement has ever been said before than that. Conor Mac, what do you think here? St. Louis and Cincy.
Well, I've got my ass kicked here in baseball the last few days, and the Reds were none other than yesterday. Couldn't hit Luzardo. I don't want anything here in this game. There's just no way. Cardinals rip Castillo like you talked about earlier in the year. He's pitched better. I can't take a minus 200 in this spot. And I can't take the Reds team total. I don't want a 4.5 or 5.5. It's a stay away game. I don't know who's going to show up. Bunch of long balls to Castillo's given up to a lot of these Cardinals as well. And how about Suarez, a guy who swings and misses a ton, but he's 16 for 43 with 6 bombs off Lester. He's a guy in this game. But other than that, I lean over. I don't love it. I love fading Lester, but his last game he pitched well. He'll probably give up runs. I just can't lay this big number with the Reds as a home run line. I don't love it. I don't like the home team too much on run lines. So I think there's a little bit of value with the Cardinals, maybe first 5 here. I don't know if it makes my card. I got to tighten up the straps, but I think Cardinals, you just got to back Lester.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy in the chat saying great vibes here. You know what? If you can get me on a night where I go to a karaoke bar and they're playing rap and hip hop and songs that I know the lyrics of front to back, you're going to be mind blown when you see me up there performing.
Wait till we get you to Vegas out here. I know a couple places to take you.
Oh, nice stuff.
There's
You're going to be mind blown that just the flow and keeping up and keeping the breath there, because it's hard. But no, especially I can't do any new songs because I don't know them well enough. I don't listen to it as much. But the older stuff like 90s and 2000s hip hop, I'm there. And I'll aim to impress if you ever see that in the Las Vegas.
Why can't we do one on the show, Ian? Let's prepare for one on the show.
Maybe at some point. I usually like to do it in person, though. It's a better vibe. You're in front of people. They're all excited. So I'm one of the people that are better in a live performance setting than doing it virtually. Skee, what do you think here, Cardinals and Reds?
Hey, you got a little one last time. I was on one of these shows. I was enjoying it. Ian doing his karaoke. It was the Will Crow. It was a song about Will Crow. But
Sheryl Crow, yeah. Every day is a winding road. Get a little bit closer to getting demoted.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. This game between the Cardinals and the Reds, I don't want the Cardinals on the road. That's really what it boils down to. It's the Cardinals on the road and it's Lester. So I know he's had a couple decent starts, but he's just still not a guy I have a lot of confidence in. And Ian, when you were rhyming off the numbers for Luis Castillo, I had to look back at my paper, but you came back to it. His last couple starts versus them, he shut him down. 3.5 ERA at the house. His last couple starts in general, he's been good. 13.3 innings. He's only given up 3 runs. Looking at the bullpen numbers last 10, a little bit of an advantage to the Reds, 3.16 compared to 3.47 for the Cardinals. And, I was looking over some numbers that my friend Ralph Michaels posted out and pretty much was saying, like, if you're looking at these big favorites, like minus 200 or more, if you've been backing them every single game, you've been profitable 7 of the last 10 years. And this year, you'd be up like plus 8,600, something like that. If you're $100 better, I believe that's what it was. So it's like, if you like those teams, I feel like you shouldn't be scared just because the price is big. And if you've been betting the dogs in all of these games with favorites of minus 200 or more, you've only had one profitable year since 2004. So that just kind of stood out to me. And so I'm just not going to overthink it in this one. I'm kind of going to play these games for a little bit of lunch money anyway for the next couple of weeks and track them just to see how they do. But I get to fade the Cardinals on the road. I get to fade Lester. I'm just going to go ahead and back the Reds.
Yeah. By the way, I think I might add the Reds first 5 minus a half a run to this card as well. I like the team total, but I think I might add that. It's minus 145. You do have to lay a little juice, but I might go there as well. Look, I know the Reds.
Hopefully they can hit a lefty.
Conor Mac down yesterday as well. And the lefty, you're right. The lefties, like that was Luzardo yesterday, shutting them down, and now another lefty today. But I don't know. I
don't blame you for going back to it. I mean, there's certain spots. I'm just being stubborn. I'm just going to stay. There's too many games today.
I get it.
But I don't blame you.
I understand it. When I look at the numbers too, last 2 weeks, weighted runs created plus versus lefties, they're dead last.
Yeah.
But, when I also look at the Reds as a big favorite like this, minus 200 or more, they're 10-1 this year. So rocking with it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, that Luis Castillo, the 2 bad games against St. Louis this year were in April. He was a shit show in April. He was a mess in April. He was terrible in that first month of the year, Luis Castillo. But then he faced that same St. Louis team in June and July when he had fixed his pitching and turned things around, and he pitched a lot better against them. So it's almost like you have to split. It's like 2 different split personalities or something. You got to split them in half with Castillo. He was like, he needed to put him in a loony bin in April and May, put a straitjacket on him. He was Coco Loco back then. And now all of a sudden he's pitched a lot better here in the second half. And now he's back in form again. So it's almost like I say, personality disorder this year for Luis Castillo. When you look at his numbers from the beginning of the season to now, it's like it's 2 different pitchers you're looking at. All right. Next up, we've got Philadelphia and Washington. Zach Wheeler in the sky keeps on turning. There we go. little more karaoke for you. Josiah Gray for Washington. We've got Philadelphia minus 145 road favorites here. The total 8.5 shaded to the under in this one. I don't have a strong feel on this game, to be honest. Washington's taken a lot of money, and I kind of agree with that. Wheeler, not on the road as much am I all that excited, enthusiastic about backing him. And Washington, for a team that's traded away a lot of key players at the deadline, Scherzer, Turner, among others. Josh Harrison got moved to Oakland. I mean, they dealt away a lot of key guys at the deadline, but they've been hanging in there and competing still most nights. I mean, it obviously ended poorly yesterday against the Mets. But Wheeler, you look at it, 6.53 ERA his last 3 starts. He's trended in the wrong direction. 4 runs to the Reds, 6 runs to Arizona, 7 runs, 10 hits in his last start against Tampa Bay. So Zach Wheeler's kind of had a rough go of it. He's faced Washington 4 times this year, pitched well in May, or the first start in June. Second start in June was good. The last start, not quite as sharp, but Philadelphia won that game 5-4, but he gave up 4 runs, 8 hits, 7.1 innings. Josiah Gray, who was dealt to the Nationals in the Dodgers trade that brought Turner and Scherzer to the Dodgers, Gray went the other way. Gray's been decent, and they have a high level of upside for him long term. He's given up 2 runs or fewer in 3 of his last 4 starts here in the month of August. So giving the Nationals a chance to win. I mean, a lot of the value's gone now. This opened minus 190, and now Philadelphia just minus 145 now as road favorites. But I could see why people are maybe taking that price with Washington. Philadelphia doesn't do anything convincingly or easily by any stretch of the imagination, and it wouldn't surprise me. They might win this game. They did win the last 3 against Arizona of that 4-game series, but I'm still not comfortable at all at any point laying this kind of number with the Phillies on the road. So for me, I'm not going to get involved in this game. Connor, what do you think here? Phillies, Nats.
Yeah, this is a tough one because all of a sudden Zach Wheeler's just kind of hit a wall, whether at home or on the road. His last 3 starts, he's given up 6, 7, 5. I don't know what we're going to get here. You got to think he's going to pitch better. Maybe there's something lingering, though. That's what kind of scares me. Right away, I wanted to look at the first 5 under 4.5 in this one. Gray's been good, especially since the end of the last time I saw him against Philly. They were all over. He only gave up 1 run. And he had 2 Ks in that game, 2 walks. But they were all over him, but he got out of it. But he's pitched pretty good since then. He's gone 6, giving up 2. So, yeah, my lean would only be the Nats. Here's a little bit of a home dog and the first 5 under 4.5. Maybe a live over after these 2. Like you said, Wheeler, though, he's consistently got hits. The Nats, of course, different lineup. Soto and Bell still there, but, he gave up 3, 3, 4 his last 3 starts against the Nats. So,
and a 4.53 ERA in his career against the Nationals for Wheeler, which is nothing to write home about. That's not great.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination. I'm on Juan Soto as well, home run prop in this game. 10 for 34, 2 home runs against Zach Wheeler in the past. So Juan Soto, and again, obviously he's capable of going yard every night he's in the lineup. So I think that's a good Jack of the Day candidate. And of course, we'll get to that at the end of the show. Skee, what do you like here? Philly, Washington.
Yeah, I agree with you that I cannot back the Phillies on the road, especially at the price that they are at. So I probably would just, based on that, lean the dog or nothing. But I would roll with the total here, and I'm going where with what Connor said. I got a chance to talk to our guy, King of Unders, today, Noli, and what stood out to me about this game that he pointed out is I look at Zach Wheeler's numbers as a whole, like his last 20 and 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 17 runs. But he's going deep in the games that he's pitching. So that means that he's pitching well for a good amount of time. It's just they leave him in there too long. So when I think about that, and then I look at how Gray's been pitching lately too, you talked about it, Ian. I think even 4 of his last 5 starts, he's held opponents under 3 runs. And his last time out versus the Phillies, he went about 5 innings and held them to 1. So I think I can back both of these guys. Wheeler, I think he can make it 5 innings. He usually gets about 6, 7. So I like that first 5 under 4.5.
And no Phillies, obviously no Hoskins and Realmuto in the lineup too.
Yeah. That's also part of the reason the money's come in on Washington. You're right, a little depleted in the heart of that lineup tonight. The Phillies still have Segura, Harper, McCutchen, but you're right. Hoskins, one of their better bats, and Real Muto, good hitting catcher. So you do miss those guys. Baltimore and Toronto next up. We've got Chris Ellis on the mound for the Orioles. Robbie Ray for the Toronto Blue Jays in this one. AL Cy Young candidate. He is absolutely in the mix right now for this Toronto team. Minus 320 for the Toronto Blue Jays as home favorites. 9 the total in this one. I'm not big on betting team totals under, but I'm very, very, very interested in Baltimore team total under 3.5 tonight. They're not hitting lefties well right now. They've actually hit righties better the last 15 to 30 days. Of course, Sharpie has said that before when he's been on our show. And I don't know if they're going to hit Robbie Ray right now. Robbie Ray's in the almost unhittable category at this point. When he's not walking guys, and he hasn't been doing that during this brilliant run he's been on, he's been lights out. He's been just magnificent. The strikeouts, this guy's popping 13, 14 strikeouts a game in some of these starts. Are you kidding me? I mean, the swing and miss ability right now is incredible for him right now. And Baltimore's always one of those free swinging lineups where they face a strikeout artist, they fall victim to it. They can strike out a lot. So definitely I would think Ray has a good start here. But again, do you trust the Blue Jays lineup? But Chris Ellis is just, run-of-the-mill starter here. He's not going to pitch deep. He only went 3 innings in his first spot start against the Angels. And 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 innings. That's not good. He gave up a home run. But we've said this before about the Blue Jays. They have not exactly made mediocre to bad pitchers pay for who they are. And it's just because they've struggled to get clutch hits as of late. You look at this Detroit series. They won 2 of 3, but they didn't score more than 3 runs in any of the games. And they're facing Matt Manning. They're facing Jose Urena. They're facing Matt Boyd off the injured list. And they're not even scoring more than 3 runs in any of those games. I mean, so to me, I think I'd want to back Robbie Ray in some form here. You're not getting money line value. You've even got to lay a big price on the first 5 and the full game run line with the Blue Jays. Why don't you just go Baltimore team total under, 3.5, and then you don't have to worry about what Toronto does or does not do offensively. Because let's be honest, even against mediocre pitching, they have not done a whole lot offensively the last week to 2 weeks. So I think that's going to be the bet for me. Baltimore team total under 3.5, which you can get pretty much minus 130 right now. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Orioles, Blue Jays.
Yeah, there's just Ray's been really, really good, like you talked about, especially his last 2 starts, 14 Ks, 11 Ks. There's just no way I'm going to back him. This should be like a game the Blue Jays finally score runs, but I don't know if that's going to happen. This is an Ellis guy who's got over a 6 ERA in AAA all year in Durham, where he just got pounded. Seemed like he gave up 4 or 5 every single start or more. Is it finally the Jays get right and swing it here? I'm not sure. Orioles have been an over team a lot lately, and the Jays, the last 10 games or 2 weeks, have been a total under team because they can't hit a lick. So I'm just off here. It's too big of a price for the Blue Jays. I don't want them. Orioles are away from home. They won their couple games. They lost again, bunch of runs. For some reason, I know they've been on the under. I think this could get over. It all depends on Ray. If Ray's sharp, this could be 8-0. Or the Jays might get there on their own swinging it. They just need to bust out. I think they're just needing that one game to kind of break out because they haven't been able to get it. It's been 2, 1, 3, So it's just a game I'm going to pass.
All right, passing on this one. And by the way, for Robbie Ray and Detroit got 4, but that was against the bullpen when they got those runs. It went to extra innings that game against the Tigers where they scored 4. But other than that, Rays held opponents to 1, 3, 0. I mean, he's done a really good. That's why I think the team total under can get there here tonight. George Springer is not confirmed to be returned tonight, but there's a possibility he might return. So keep an eye on that Blue Jays lineup. Just even if he doesn't hit well tonight, I think maybe just having him back in the lineup is a spark for them, maybe to get their bats going. We'll see. But Springer, at least questionable to return tonight, but might finally be able to make his Blue Jays return. And yeah, they've missed him, but that's no excuse for what the offense hasn't done lately. They've got enough bats. They got Bichette. They've got Vlad. They've got Teoscar Hernandez, who's in a slump too, right? They're all in a slump at the same time. That's when you get this kind of thing, when everybody's slumping at the same time. Teoscar, Vlad, Bichette. You go on down the list. Everybody's Grichuk, his production's fallen off lately as well. I mean, it's everybody in this lineup right now. So I think the Jays win, but if it's like a 3-1, they squeak it out type of win, it wouldn't shock me. 3-2, and that way I can still cash the team total under. So that's why I'm thinking of going in that direction with this game. What do you like here, Skee, with Baltimore?
I understand where you're coming from, wanting to play on Toronto and against Baltimore in a way. It makes me nervous though. If I had to play, it makes me nervous to even think about playing the Orioles game under for the full game. But when I think about playing the team total under for Orioles, I just feel like they've been scoring like 4 runs a few times, like recently. So I get it. They haven't been facing Robbie Ray, so I'll just say it's interesting. I'm not going to think about it too much. I told you guys earlier how I'm kind of just auto betting some of these teams for the next couple of weeks at least and tracking to see how they do. Robbie Ray has just been too dominant. Nobody's been hitting him. His last 30 innings, he's only gave up 4 runs. And Blue Jays bullpen the last 10 days, 2.52 ERA. So I get it. I'm not really expecting the Orioles to do much scoring here. And if there's any recipe to get the Blue Jays bats working again, it should be versus the Orioles because they've given up runs to every single team except the Atlanta Braves. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet the Blue Jays. If you want to, you can make a -1 line. But I'm playing those favorites, those big favorites, because they've been profitable all year. So Blue Jays for me.
And then Skee was throwing out the stat earlier about the big favorites doing well and the big underdogs not doing well. We're talking over a span of multiple years, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. That's also why it's tough for me at this time of year, because I'm always trying to make a case for the big underdog anytime I can, as opposed to the big favorite. And if they're not really producing and resulting in profit and wins at the rate we want them to, that's what makes it difficult. You got to either find a way to get creative to make money with the favorite, or you got to take a shot with the dog. And if taking a shot with the dog is not profiting long-term for you, that's where you're stuck, essentially at this time of year. So that's the problem. That's why it's tricky. That's why I said when we started this show early in the year, we said my favorite time of the year is April and May, because, we're ahead of the odds makers a little bit. We can see some things that maybe they don't early on. But once you get to this time, it is just, you're trying to find ways to back the big favorite, and you got to get creative because you're not getting, or you got to play parlays, and that's all you can do. Parlay a couple of big favorites. I mean, that's where we're at in the baseball betting marketplace, August into September. So you definitely got to really think long and hard about how you go about actually placing your bets and how you go about backing specifically a big favorite like this. I mean, for Toronto, for example, they're -165 on the run line tonight. Like just -1.5 runs is -165. Like you'd have to go -2.5 alternative run line with the Blue Jays if you're going to try to get ultra creative. And can we trust this team, even with a dominant pitcher on the mound, to hit enough to win by 3 or more? That's always been the issue. So.
Yeah, and they haven't won by 2 lately. All these games lately, they've only won by 1. So
exactly.
Low scoring.
So that's why I think this is one of those games where I know Robert's talking about it in the chat, a couple people. This could be one of those parlay pieces, because I think there's a really good chance the Jays win, obviously, but do you want to trust them to win by like 2, 3, 4, 5 runs? Not necessarily. So I think a win, that way you don't have to sweat out a run line, -1.5, -2.5. You put them in a parlay and you expect them to win the game. And then maybe you put that with Cincinnati, for example, or you put another team in there. But that's definitely a way you could go about. Do you touch the Dodgers later? Maybe, which we'll get to. Definitely some things to consider there. Next up, we've got Boston.
One more thing, Ian, before
go ahead.
I don't have to keep going over it when we mention these games, but the only teams that I'm not backing in that scenario are the Padres and the Astros, because they usually play down the competition, and they've been the 2 teams that haven't been profitable in those situations. So that's all I want to add.
All right, there we go. So Padres and Astros as big favorites, losing for their backers more often than maybe some other teams in that price range. So great stuff there in terms of the price range and how, because every team's different. Some teams aren't great big favorites, aren't always as trustworthy. And maybe we're seeing that right now with those 2 teams that Skee Profit mentioned, the Padres there, as well as the Astros. All right, next up, we've got Boston-Tampa, AL East showdown here. Pivetta and Luis Patino on the mound. Tampa minus 145 home favorites, 8.5, 9 the total in this one. I think we're going to see runs in this game. I mean, we're seeing offense from the Red Sox. Their offense is really coming back to life again. They've had a nice little stretch of baseball at the plate lately. During this 5-2 stretch in their last 7 games, they've scored 8, 11, 6, 12, 4, 5, 5. So they've scored 4 runs or more in each of their last 7 games. They've scored 5 or more in all but one of those. So this Boston lineup is clicking right now. I like what I'm seeing. Martinez, Devers, Verdugo, giving them some good at-bats. Schwarber's really picked it up. Bogarts, of course. So you're getting good production from Boston's lineup. Not the biggest fan of Luis Patino, although I will say his numbers at home have been a lot better than on the road. So there is a reason why you're seeing Tampa Bay favored here. Pivetta for the season still has better road numbers than he does at Fenway, but don't like the way things have gone for him the last 2 starts. He's given up 8 runs, 10 hits, and just 5.2 innings of work, which isn't anything all that great. Patino faced Boston August the 10th, albeit in Boston, but struggled. 4 runs, 6 hits, gave up a couple of home runs in that game. I think I would lean to the Rays just because Patino's been good at home. I maybe lean Rays first 5 here in this one, either money line or minus a half a run to get better value. But I do like over the total here, 8.5, minus 120 at a couple spots, especially if you can get that 8.5. I think that's a good number here. I think Rays can do damage. Remember, the Boston bullpen's still very shaky at the back end of games right now. That Boston bullpen hasn't been as good lately, so you could get some late shenanigans as well in terms of run scoring. So over 8.5, minus 120. I'm liking that here with Red Sox and Rays. What do you think here, Conor Mac? Boston, Tampa.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Patino, I got to back the Rays, I think, at home. Pivetta, he's shut down these Rays. They don't have great numbers. All the at-bats are like 4, 5, 8. Meadows, Margot's 2 for 11. But he's pitched well. I just like the Rays at a better team. They're at home. I lean a little bit towards their over. The only thing that holds me back, and if you can get an 8.5 and you like it, take it. A lot of places got up to 9 at even money. These division games, it's late in the year. Sometimes we just see more unders. We've seen a little bit lately. Rays have been an over team, though, for sure, and their team total's been hitting. So if you think they get to Pivetta, their team total could be a look. I'll just stick to the Rays here. They have the better bullpen late instead of first 5. I'll just go full game with them. You could go -1, maybe, and split it, go half run line, half minus 135 and get that down. But Rays would be my look here.
Yeah, by the way, Rays minus a half is right around even money, plus 100. So a really good price. I think I'll probably add that a little bit. I do like Patino's numbers at home here. And by the way, the Rays are hitting too. I mean, they put up some big numbers the last 7 to 8 games. So, and again, you're not talking 9.5 here or 10. You're just talking 8.5 with this total. If both teams get to 4 runs, you're golden with this total. So I think that's possible. That's something reasonable expectation that each team can get to 4 runs. What do you think, Skee? Boston, Tampa Bay?
Yeah, when I first looked at the game, I mean, that's what I thought. I just looked at the paper. I saw Rays and Red Sox in 8.5, and I said, why is this total so low? I mean, then I look a little bit more. I see the Red Sox. They're even number 1 last 2 weeks. Weighted runs created plus versus righties, and Rays are 8th. So I'm like, why is it this low? I looked more. The over is 21-6-2. The last 29 meetings between these teams. So I'm just trying to figure out the whole entire day, why was it 8.5? And what I came up with was Pivetta, I have him as 3.56 on the road, and just his last few starts versus the Rays, he's dominated them.
Good.
Yeah.
16.3 innings, he's given up 3 runs. So maybe they're expecting him to do the same again today. And I look at the other side, Patino, his last 9 innings, he's given up 4. He's been good at home, 2.28 ERA at the house, and the bullpen for the Rays is also pretty solid. So I think I'm just gonna go. It makes me nervous with the Red Sox bullpen. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like a contrarian. But I think at least both starters will be good here. Maybe first 5 under or full game under for me if I'm making a play on this game.
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm starting to think though, when you're talking about past success against the team, and Patino's had it against the Red Sox, and certainly Pavetta's had it against the Rays. He's actually had great numbers against the Rays. I'm starting to think though that the current form might matter more, because this in reverse ended up happening with the Rockies and the Dodgers on Sunday, where Senzatella had been ripped by the Dodgers throughout in the past, but he was going into that game on Sunday, Senzatella, in blazing form. His current form was terrific, lights out, in fact. And sure enough, what did he do against the Dodgers on Sunday? He shut him down. And the current form was an overriding factor than what he did against that team in the past. And that's how I feel about this game. Okay, Pavetta's got the numbers against the Rays. Okay, Patino's been okay against Boston, but Patino's been up and down. Pavetta's not in good form. I'm going to hope going into this game, so I'm going to hope the form is what shows up here. And the current form is shaky on both sides here. So that's why I like this over.
I understand that.
Yeah, because again, we were expecting Senzatella had gotten crushed. Crushed by the Dodgers going into Sunday, but he was in great form in his last 3 or 4 starts prior to Sunday against the Dodgers, and he shut him down. So it's got me thinking that current form means more than what a pitcher has done in the past against a certain team. So just something to keep in mind, because that shocked me what Senzatella did on Sunday.
Usually how I cap, in different multiple sports, that's usually like what I use a lot of my capping on, recent performance. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, right? Because you can't totally ignore that a pitcher dominated a team or he's been crushed by a team. But I do think the current form is valuable a little bit more than that past history against a particular lineup. Next up, we've got, as we continue, great discussion though. Next up, Colorado and Texas. German Marquez for the Rockies in this one. And we've got AJ Alexy on the mound here for the Texas Rangers tonight. We've got Colorado minus 140 road favorites, 8.5 the total. It's Colorado laying a price on the road, so that's an automatic no for me. Not interested. Even though I like Marquez, he's had a solid year overall for the Colorado Rockies. Let's give Texas credit. They didn't just beat Houston. I know they lost the first 2 against the Astros, but they crushed Houston. Poor Zach Greinke. He was just not a good day for him. They lose Texas wins 13-2 against the Astros yesterday in that game. Rockies have won 3 of their last 4. And all of them on the road. So you got to give them some credit for that. They won 2 of 3 in LA against the Dodgers. You got to tip your cap to them. Marquez has been in good form. I get it, but not as a road favorite. I'm just not quite interested with Marquez at this price, especially last time out against the Cubs was rough for him. 5 runs, 7 hits, 3 innings. He was pitching well for the most part prior to that, but he's had a couple shaky starts in his last 3. I'm not laying a price with him on the road. Question is, what do you get here from AJ Alexy for the Texas Rangers? He is a promising prospect from what I've heard. And again, they're being ravaged by COVID right now, the last week or so, this Rangers team. So they're going down to the minors to get him to help out in this pitching staff. 1.66 ERA and 10 starts this year between Frisco and AA and Round Rock and AAA for AJ Alexy this year. So look, those are good numbers down there, but doesn't necessarily mean they always matriculate to the major league level when you make that first start. So I would lean Texas here, but I'm just going to stay off the game. I do want to see Alexy throw a start first here, pitch a game first before we get involved backing him. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Colorado, Texas.
Yeah, I don't want anything on the side here. Marquez has been shaky lately. 5 to the Cubs, 3-7 to the Giants. And I just don't know the Rockies on the road, even though they took 2 out of 3 in LA, which was huge for them. Now they're laying almost minus 140, a little bit less. And the Rangers here just bang out 13 runs. Is this offense, getting going? I'd say no. I think they kind of get shut down. I'd put Marquez to have maybe a better start tonight. And you're right, Alexy, this kid's one of their better prospects, and he's looked good down in the minors. I think this is a sleepy spot. Rockies off the huge win with the Dodgers series. Rangers, big win, score 13 runs. I think this is a pretty dead under. First 5, you could even go full game if you want, but I'm on the first 5 under here, 4.5.
Yeah, I think that makes some sense. Maybe looking for low scoring early. Skee, what do you think? Rockies, Rangers.
I don't really have anything intelligent to say about this game, so I will just pass.
Well, no problem with that. All right, next up, we've got New York Yankees, LA Angels. Looks like Corey Kluber going to start this game. We don't know who's on the mound yet for the Angels, but it's going to be a bullpen day for them. It looks like in this one. We're just trying to get some word on who that is. Ohtani's going to start tomorrow, so they haven't announced a starter yet for today. We'll have to see who it's going to be, but it's going to be Corey Kluber on the mound, making his first start since May 25th. He's been out with a strained right shoulder, and again, right-handed pitcher coming off a right shoulder strain means that's not a pitcher I'm backing in their first start. When the injury is affecting their throwing arm and their throwing shoulder, and that's what they're coming back from, I am not backing them in that first start here. And the Yankees are expected to be minus 170 estimated price as road favorites in this game once the Angel starter gets announced. So Kluber will start. It looks like they are going to monitor him a little bit, and that you're going to see a lot of Andrew Heaney after that as well for the Yankees in this game. So it's just, and the Yankees, after that terrific win streak, that got snapped over the weekend, 13 in a row, and they dropped the last two following that win streak getting snapped to Oakland. 2 runs, 1 run against Blackburn, and Montas has been pitching well, Frankie Montas, but Blackburn
shoved it to me.
Shutting them right down yesterday. Is this warning signs now? A little slump is on the horizon for this New York Yankees team that they've cooled off a little bit. This is just a game that I'm just going to completely be off. I don't want the Angels. I'm not backing the Yankees at this price, not with Kluber coming off a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder. So easy game to say pass. What do you think, Connor?
I agree. I'll be quick since they don't have the line waiting on the pitcher. Pass for me as well.
Anything to offer, Skee?
It's hard without a pitcher for the Angels, but I have to think the Yankees can score runs. If you tell me it's going to be a bullpen game for the Angels, that bullpen has been terrible. 6.31 ERA over the last 10 days. I have them and the Orioles as the 2 bullpens that I would fade today. So I would think the Yankees score a lot of runs, maybe a Yankees team total over or something in that capacity.
Yeah, or a live over. If you're worried that early in the game, whoever the Angels pitch might slow them down, then you get that bullpen in there, and maybe the damage will happen at that point. The floodgates open later in the game offensively, but just a thought that maybe you could approach it that way. San Diego and Arizona, Chris Paddock, Tyler Gilbert pitching matchup in this one. San Diego minus 180, road favorites, 9.5 the total here in this game. The Padres trying to get themselves a wild card spot. They are neck and neck with the Cincinnati Reds right now for that second wild card position. Keep in mind, we have Chris Paddock in a situation here where he's returning to this rotation, coming off an oblique injury. So here we go, another guy, coming off the injured list. Now, this is not a throwing arm or shoulder injury. This is his left oblique that got strained. So it's not, if you're going to back a pitcher off the injured list, I'd prefer this situation with Chris Paddock compared to the situation we just talked about with Kluber, because it's not his throwing shoulder or arm that got hurt. It was the oblique. So that means there's not quite that same amount of health concern for Paddock, maybe necessarily going into this start that maybe there is for Kluber. So it's just definitely something you want to keep in mind there. Paddock, just not someone I've been ever rushing to back, especially laying a price on the road, 4.74 ERA. His road numbers are actually decent, and the Padres are trying to pick up some momentum and steam. And, we thought maybe they would after beating the Angels 5-0 in the first game. But, since then, been dicey for them. It's been a tough go for the Padres, and I'm still not in that area where I'm comfortable laying this kind of price with them going into this game. And Tyler Gilbert, by the way, who threw that gem, that terrific start against this same Padres team back on August 14th, complete game shutout, no hitter against the Padres, 7-0. You got to think Padres make some adjustments, don't they? Or are they that sorry a ball club right now that the second time in a row facing this guy in a 2-week span, they can't fare better? But you would think in theory they should be able to do some more damage tonight. Second time seeing Tyler Gilbert that no hit them back on August the 14th. So I would expect better success. And I still remember, and I've talked about that a couple times on the show, a lot of line drive outs, loud contact, hard contact, a lot of line drive outs in that no hitter for Gilbert against San Diego, where if the ball just happens to be in a different place, it's a different result. And really, in the 2 games since then, he's kind of come back down to earth. 6 runs in 10 innings, 12 hits in those 10 innings against Colorado and Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's a light hitting team, so I would take that start with a grain of salt. Pittsburgh just fired their hitting coach today. So exactly, you can't make a big deal of Gilbert pitching well against the Pittsburgh Pirates right now. So this is going to be, for me, a Padre team total over. I don't want to lay the price, but I do think you're going to see a much different level of success for the Padres lineup tonight. The 5.5 interests me a little bit. I don't love the number, but small bet for me, Padres over 5.5. I just think it's that prime situation. The guy no-hits them, and it was a bit of a lucky no-hitter because there were a lot of line drive outs that night. And now I think Padres make their adjustments and have a much better success at the plate. And again, and not just Gilbert, but the Arizona bullpen. Certainly the Padres could be able to do some damage. So that's the way I would approach it. Rather than the minus price with Paddock, go with the team total. Safer route for my buck. What do you think here, Conor Mac, San Diego, Arizona?
Yeah, there's just I know I get Gilbert, no hit him. They should have some success, but this has got to be the D-backs. They play so well at home against the Padres. It seems like they get up for these games. Paddock, June 25th, gave up 5 runs to these D-backs. They got great numbers off him, and I'm the ultimate fade Paddock guy. He's coming off the IL right now with some oblique strain. So, I love fading pitchers coming off that. Yeah, I don't know if Gilbert's exactly as great, of course, no hitter, but I think he'll be okay. Padres haven't done anything lately. So, yeah, this could be a live over hit. I mean, if you trust it just to get over the 9.5, which, both bullpens, especially Arizona's bad, you could go there. But I'm just going to go D-backs. First 5, plus 155. I think there's just way too much value. The Padres should not be lined with Paddock on the mound right now. I mean, these guys, Marte, 7 for 13, 5 for 14, 12. These guys hit Paddock well, and they've seen him. So I think they could get it here first 5.
I'm worried about the spot, though, for Arizona. I don't argue with that because it's tough to trust San Diego. But for Arizona, they had a long road trip. Colorado, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. True. They haven't been home since August 19th. They didn't have a day off either, coming back from the East Coast from Philadelphia. So I worry that this is just one of those. They just are completely flat as a pancake tonight. And San Diego maybe lays the wood to them and hopefully at least scores 6 runs, which I think they might be able to here in this game. It's I don't want to say Zach Wilson says never heard of a lucky no-hitter. No, he does deserve credit for getting the no-hitter, but there was some luck involved. If you watch that, there's line drive outs lined right at the fielder. And there's a difference.
Every no-hitter has one, though. It might not be 5, but you at least get 1 or 2 usually where in every no-hitter it seems like, There's been total domination.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen no-hitters where it's like weak contact, ground balls.
Oh, yeah.
Just not getting any sort of major hard contact on the ball, striking out left and right. That wasn't that kind of no-hitter for Tyler Gilbert. That was, he had a little bit of that, but mostly he had some fly ball outs, some deep into the center field, warning track, fly ball outs. Good credit to him for having the no-hitter, but that's not the best, most dominant no-hitter, not even close, that I've ever seen. So we'll see how he does, and let's see if the Padres can man up and make some adjustments. I mean, that's asking maybe a lot for them right now with how badly they've been reeling, but in theory, this is a good spot for their lineup. Let's see if they can produce. What do you think here, Skee? Padres, Diamondbacks?
Yeah, you guys have already broken down this game pretty good, but what I'll add is last 2 times Paddock has seen the Diamondbacks, he's kind of been getting touched. 7.6 innings, 10 runs. Gilbert, I think his last 19 innings, he's given up 6, and like you mentioned, one of them included a no-hitter versus this team already. Padres, I already talked about how they play down the competition. I think there's something like 26 and 25, but when you're laying juice, I mean, that makes you negative on the year. And I look at them the last 2 weeks versus lefties, weighted runs created plus, they're 29th. So I would just get the plus money with the Diamondbacks. Padres have lost 9 of their last 12 games. I see no reason to back the Padres here. So it'll be Diamondbacks for me.
All right, 7th inning stretch time as we reach the 3 West Coast games, or the late West Coast games. We did have the Angels earlier at home, but they were a little bit of an earlier game for their standards. We got 3 West Coast games, so we'll do the 7th inning stretch now, and we say hello to JR. Noli knows. Good to see him in the chat. Hope he's doing well. Lance LaRose, Vitalis, Crystal Warren, Jared Nichols, not applicable, LJ from H-Town, Stelio, welcome in. Melvin Betances, Real Deal Prime, Michael Robertson, Sean Thompson, JR saying Bobano's badass. I appreciate that. Gabe Martinez, Cash Action Bets, Danny C, very kind. Benjamin Mills, Brian Dance, which I love to do, by the way. Mark Schillingberg, Can't Get Right, the Real DJ X. I was going to say Jesus, Juices in the chat there. Abel Alvarez. Let's see who else have we got. I think that we get mostly every Jared Nichols. There's one we didn't get to. Eric Rosas. There we go. Arthur Mead Jr. Welcome in. I saw you in the earlier show as well. Robert Cherry. I saw him at the beginning on the chat as well. Lance Rose, Jedi for Life. Anthony Greer. Zach Wilson for MVP. DX Filer. There we go. I think that's everybody. Great stuff. Thanks to everybody for joining us.
Shout out to the
Hit
chat.
the like
Hit
button.
that like button, baby.
Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Over 200 live viewers. We appreciate it. Let's roll on. We got 3 games left. Milwaukee Brewers, San Francisco Giants. Corbin Burns, Johnny Cueto on the mound here. Milwaukee minus 140. Road favorites, 7.5 the total. San Francisco, this is a tricky spot for them, right? They just finished a long road trip, which wrapped up in Atlanta yesterday. Wrapped up with a loss at the end of that road trip as well. So we'll see how they fare here as they return home to the Bay Area, but obviously drubbed 9-0 by the Braves yesterday, looking to bounce back. Milwaukee enters in with Corbin Burns on the mound, who's had a fantastic year, 2.3 ERA, 1.8 in his last 3, 1.87 ERA on the road. So it's been a very nice season overall for Corbin Burns. He faced the Giants last month in Milwaukee and shut him down, 1 run in 7 innings. Cueto also faced Milwaukee last month. He didn't fare as well. 4 runs, 5 hits, 5.1 innings. I would lean Milwaukee here, but you know me, when I'm seeing the Brewers as a home underdog, yeah, I get it. Burns, I trust. I like a little bit more than Cueto, an aging Johnny Cueto right now. But I mean, that's not value to me. Milwaukee minus 140 against a team as good as San Francisco, getting a price at home. So I'm passing the game. I don't argue with people liking Milwaukee, but it's just not the value for me to bet it. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I'll take it a little bit of value. You know, they're coming home. They just got kind of their ass whipped by the Braves yesterday. So it is that kind of bad spot, you know, that these teams come home and they drop this game. We just talked about it a couple games ago. But I'd only be on the Giants. I've liked Burns all year, but these Giants you talked about the other day, Ian, after a loss, they just keep winning. And you're going to give me plus 120. I think you just ride it here. I mean, I think this game could go under. Wind's blown out a little bit. I think the game's tight. And Cueto could get hit. So it's not huge, but Giants plus 120, I got to take them today here.
All right, good stuff. Trayvon Jones in our chat. Wish I could hit the like button 1,000 times. You guys have made me so much money. I love you guys. Sending you guys love from Houston. Oh, that's kind, man. That's seriously, I get in the chills just seeing that. It means a lot. It really does. That's wonderful. Wonderful description of you enjoying the show. We appreciate it. Look, it's damn hard. Like we break down think about that. We've been here since April, Connor and I, every day, 7 days a week, we've broken down every single baseball game throughout the season. We got to give an opinion on every single game. And it's not easy because there's some games you hate. You're going to have bad days throughout the course of a long season.
I've had a couple.
You guys understand that though. And you still love what we do every day, good and bad, good times and bad. Just because we give you the info, we try to win more often than not. And it is so much appreciated. Thoughts and words like that from Trayvon Jones in our chat. It means the world. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Skee Profit, what do you think here with Milwaukee, San Fran?
Yeah, I'm going to look at this game from 2 different ways. And so the first one is going to be first 5 kind of play. And what I'm liking there, I mean, obviously Burns has been good all year. I think his last couple starts, 10 innings, gave up 5. Last time he faced the Giants, he went 7 innings, only gave up 1. So I'm saying all that to say that I trust him quite a bit. Cueto, you know, last time he did face the Brewers, I think he got touched. But recently he's been looking a little bit better. So I'm thinking he can be okay, at least, for a couple innings there. And I look at the last 2 weeks, how both teams are hitting. Giants are 24th weighted runs created plus versus righties. I do have the Brewers at 9th. So, if I had to pick who's the better pitcher between both of these, obviously it's going to be Burns. Like I think they can get after Cueto a little bit. I don't think he's going to give up too much, but I look at Cueto. He's only won one first five, going all the way back to June, and you look at Burns. He's only lost one first five, going all the way back to June. So I'm thinking to play the Brewers here on the first five, minus a half, and on the total, I probably would go with an under. Like I said, I trust both of these starting pitchers here for the most part. Burns more than Cueto, obviously. And looking at both bullpens over the last 10 days, Giants 2.77, 3.65 for the Brewers. So I'm also going to like the full game under 7.5.
All right, liking the full game under. There is one bet that I might get involved with right before. Again, this is going to be a later game, but I'm seeing Bet Online. There's some books that have 4.5 for the Brewers team total. Bet Online has 3.5 minus 145. With that 3.5 there, I might bet a little Milwaukee over 3.5. They've been crushing righties lately, and you mentioned that, Skee, and Sharpie mentioned it yesterday. And look what they did yesterday. They face a righty for the Twins, and lo and behold, they beat the Twins. They faced two lefties from the Twins. They couldn't hit Milwaukee, but they're hitting righties very well. That should bode well for them tonight against Cueto. That 3.5, I might get there with that Milwaukee team total over 3.5. I mean, just to get 4 runs here, and that way I don't have to worry about whether they win or lose the game against a good San Fran team. So the 3.5 team total kind of sticks out to me. I might pull the trigger on that prior to the first pitch. We move on now. 2 games left. Houston, Seattle. Luis Garcia, Chris the Flexen, Duran style. Chris Flexen on the mound. Houston minus 160, road favorites in this one, 8.5. The total in this game. You know what we say about Chris Flexen? Get him at home. You should get yourself a decent opportunity to cash a ticket, and that might be the case here. Look, Houston had won 4 in a row that looked like they were really starting to get things going. And then, of course, they would get drubbed by Texas yesterday, 13-2. We'll see if they can rebound here in this game. You've got Luis Garcia on the mound for the Astros, who's pitched relatively well, 4 straight starts, 5 runs in his last 22.2 innings of work. So he's really thrown the ball well. They've won all 4 of those games. But you can't sleep on the way Chris Flexen has pitched. 1.83 ERA last 3 starts, 2.7 ERA at home, where he has a 9-4 record. Mariners 9-4 in Flexen's home starts this year. He did struggle against Houston when he faced them July 27th, giving up 7 runs in 4 innings. That was in Seattle. Then he pitched against them in the first month of the year, April, also in Seattle, and only gave up 1 run in 6 innings. So did struggle with them a little bit the last time out. You've got Houston off a loss. Houston, I'm not ready to lay this price with them. I lean Seattle a little bit here, but I don't know if I'll get involved with it. They didn't have a good series against Kansas City, who's well out of the playoffs, and they were very fortunate to squeak out the win that they got yesterday, 4-3 in the finale against the Royals to avoid a 4-game sweep. I just don't love the Mariners' form enough right now to pull the trigger. I lean that way with Flexen because he's been good at home, but not for me. I worry about this psyche of the Seattle team right now. They're just hanging on, and I think when it's all said and done, they're not making the playoffs. But Flexen's been good enough at home that it's at least pushing me to lean to Seattle, but just a lean as of right now. It's probably all it'll be. What do you think, Conor Mac, Houston, Seattle?
Yeah, I lean the Mariners first 5 here a bit. Both these pitchers are kind of, exercise the demons from last month. Because I remember the Flexen start, July 27th, 7 runs in 4 innings. The Astros, got bombed on right away. And Garcia, I think, was the day before the 26th. He went 4 innings, gave up 5 or 6 runs as well. So both these guys have gotten hit by these teams just a month ago. I think they pitch better. I lean the Mariners here first 5, and I lean the under. I'm going to dare to do it, the first 5 under here. I think they pitch better than last time out. Flexen's been really good at home. Other than that, that was his lone bad start at home all year, was that Astros. Other than that, it's kind of been 2 or less at home.
Yeah, definitely. It's been remarkable consistency for Flexen all year at home. And even on the road, he's had a couple decent starts lately too. So they definitely picked up more than I thought, I thought they would get out of Flexen when they picked him up prior to the year. Skee, anything here for you? What do you like, Astros, Mariners?
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the exact numbers. I know I said it earlier that Astros kind of play down the competition. I was trying to pull the numbers up. I guess I'll pull them up a little bit later. But this is one of those teams here. When I look at Luis Garcia on the road, 4.97 ERA, don't really trust him. His last start versus the Mariners, he didn't make it 5 innings. He gave up 6 runs. When I look at Flexen, he's been good as of late, a little bit under 20 innings. He's given up 5. But that last start versus the Astros, I mean, he got lit up. So that's worrisome. But again, that was a start I think was on the road. And you talk about flexing at home, his ERA is 2.7. So a lot more trustworthy there. I wanted to try to back Seattle some way, shape, or form. I think that's honestly the only way I can look in this game. Just like they're 17-7 behind flexing. They're 26-15 straight up as a home dog. They're 63-36 on the plus 1.5 line. I just think the Mariners are the play when flexing is at home. So that's how I feel.
All right, we wrap it up. Final game, Atlanta Braves and the LA Dodgers. Battle of lefties, Drew Smyly, Julio Urias. The pitching matchup here. Dodgers minus 210, home favorites, 8.5, 9 the total in this one. The Atlanta Braves coming off a nice series against San Francisco. Very good Giants team. They won 2 of 3 in that series, bouncing back from getting swept in the mini 2-game series against the New York Yankees, who were in the middle of that epic winning streak at the time. And then before that, the Braves were on their own winning streak. I think they had won like 9 or 10 in a row. So it's been a really good last couple of weeks for the Atlanta Braves. There's no question about that. Drew Smyly has been a pleasant resurgence for him, I guess, the last month or two. He's given up 3 runs or less in basically every start since early in the summer. And the Braves are on an undefeated 6-0 run in his last 6 starts. So they've been winning consistently with Drew Smyly on the mound. You look at against the Dodgers in the past, he's only given up 3 runs in 8.1 innings. Now, both of those starts were a long time ago, so you got to factor that in. On the flip side, though, you do have Julio Urias, who's been terrific in his last 2 times to the mound. He hasn't given up an earned run in his last 10 innings over those last 2 starts against the Padres and the Mets. So he's in some really good form as well. He shut down the Dodgers on June 4th when he faced them, just 1 run given up in 5 innings earlier this year in Atlanta. All that being said, the Dodgers just aren't hitting, and they're not hitting lefties. They're not hitting, period. The last couple of games here, in the Rockies series, they get shut out by Senzatella. They struggle to hit Kyle Freeland, who, by the way, is a lefty. And we know that's still a little bit of the kryptonite for the Dodgers, their ability to hit lefties. Braves are hitting lefties here, 255, 5.8 runs per game against lefties the last 10 games. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to maybe take Atlanta first 5 here, a shot at a plus price if you're a little bit more, or if you want a little bit more security in your back pocket. You could go plus a half a run, plus 0.5 runs on Atlanta in the first 5 innings at plus 120. Because we've seen that a lot with the Dodgers lately, be tied with a team after the first 5 innings. So Atlanta plus a half a run, plus 120 first 5, that cashes for you if the game is tied after the first 5. I don't hate that. Even with the travel out to the West Coast and no day off, they at least played early yesterday, and this is a late game on Monday. I would lean under as well, maybe first 5 innings potentially. With Smiley's been rock solid. Dodgers, you can't always trust them to hit lefties, and Urias has been outstanding his last couple starts. So you could actually see this game play first 5 under here in this game, which is 4 at 4 under minus 120 is the price there. So it'd be under 4 minus 120, 4 and under 4.5, I should say, in this one if you like the first 5. Under. I would lean in that direction here. First 5 under 4.5 with Atlanta and the Dodgers. What do you think here, Skee Profit? Interesting one with Braves and Dodgers.
First, DX Filer, don't pay him any attention. He just that's his team, and he's mad that I took his players. It's not. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And before I move on to this game, I did want to mention the stats that I said I was going to bring up. It's the Astros versus those less than 50% teams. They're 32-28, but when you're laying a price, I mean, this year it lands you minus $1,919. So they've been a loser. On this one, I'm gonna if you tell me you got to lay this price with the Dodgers, and you had David Price out there, which is what my sheet has in front of me. I'm nervous and I'm sweating. But if you tell me I'm going to get Urias, I have a lot more confidence because he's been really good lately. Dodgers bullpen has been solid the last 10 days, 2.66 ERA. Not that the Braves haven't with a 3 ERA. It's just the Dodgers have been a little bit better. It's just going to come down to, in my opinion, if the Dodgers can hit that lefty. I mean, that's always the kryptonite. But this is one of those games I didn't overthink. I mean, I feel like the Dodgers should win it behind Urias. And so I'm not going to be scared of the price that you have to pay, just like the stat I mentioned earlier in the show. So it's 3 teams. This is the third one. I back the Dodgers.
All right, back in the Dodgers. By the way, if you want a little team totals trends for this game, the Braves and the Dodgers, both of them in their last 10 games combined, they are 14-3-3 to the under. Yeah, 14-3-3 to the under. That's pretty crazy. I mean, they have been extreme under teams, each of them in their last 10 games. That's why I like the first 5 under, 4.5. Smiley's been capable. We can't always trust the Dodgers to hit a lefty, and Urias has been lights out. So I like Razor Sharp trying to make it sound like someone would actually buy that BS that he's filtering there. They're going to bench Rodgers. Yeah, Green Bay's ever going to bench Aaron Rodgers in their lifetime. Yeah. I know he's just saying that to be funny. I get it. Yeah, but good to see Razor Sharp in the chat. Hopefully the ponies are treating him well. By the way, check out those horse streams. They're good. They're throughout the week right here on Pub Sports Radio at night with the horse crew doing a good job there. Conor Mac's back with us. Conor, what do you like here, Atlanta Dodgers?
I'm with what you were just saying. The under. The only thing I didn't know if I wanted to go first 5 or go full game with the 9. I haven't decided yet. Smiley, a lot of these Dodgers haven't faced him. Urias has been good. We talked Braves big win. They fly to LA. Yeah, sleepy, beginning of the game. So I don't blame it. But the Dodgers, after getting shut out, usually score some runs. So it kind of scares me a bit. And Smiley's up and down. He's not a guy I'm big on. But I think the value still could be with the Braves a little bit. I think it's still too big of a number here with the Dodgers to be laying. So I wouldn't mind anyone on the Braves first 5, right around 175 or whatever. I think that has value here.
Yeah, I agree. I said it a minute ago. I'm tempted by Atlanta, at least in the first 5 at this price. I mean, this is the Dodgers laying this kind of price against a solid a division leader. I know it's a weak division, the NL East, but a division leader. And they're still minus 200 favorites. I mean, that tells you all you need to know.
What?
Do you really trust Smiley?
No, I don't.
Lately he's been better, but you're right. He could have that blow
9-3.
Do you trust the Dodgers against lefties consistently, even mediocre lefties? You could say that.
I want to see the Dodger lineup. Mookie's, they said, is going to be in and out the rest of the year with that hip. And I mean, they're still stacked, but I want to see it every night before I make a bet for sure.
No.
Hey, I'll ask you. I'll just
great debate.
Come back at you one more time. I'll say, which one is more important in baseball? Is it pitching or is it hitting?
Better pitching always gets
usually good pitching beats good hitting. We've seen good lineups get beaten. We have in the past. Not always, but
not always.
I just don't think of those teams that have the absolute best lineups out there always winning the World Series. And it seems like I find not just best pitching, best bullpens. I think are the teams that are really doing well now in the playoffs and winning World Series and getting far. Look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's starting pitching wasn't great last year, and they still got to a World Series because the bullpen is so good. You've got to have a bullpen. You've got to have a good bullpen. You've got to have a deep bullpen if you're going to make a run in the playoffs.
You got to have a couple studs.
2021 MLB, you need a good bullpen. Yeah, you absolutely need it.
Starters.
Yeah, 100%. You need it. And actually, the teams that I would look at now from this point on, if you're still trying to look for some futures World Series, I'd be looking for the teams that have good bullpens down the stretch, maybe to make a little run. And maybe if, at least get good enough starting pitching, but get those outs late in the games, that's important in my mind. And the Dodgers are still trying to figure out their bullpen. That's always the thing I worry about them again come October.
So no Red Sox futures, right?
Oh, no, not with that bullpen right now. I wasn't going to bet their futures anyway, Boston, for a team that still may not even make the playoffs, to be honest with you. But we'll have to wait and see. They do have the second wild card, but it's not a for sure yet that the Red Sox are going to get in. Awesome show. This conversation and discussion and analysis today was top notch. We really kicked some good ideas, good thoughts, good theories around, good concepts for betting MLB. I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed it. We appreciate it. We will get to best bets. We will get to Jack of the Day in just a second. But first, messages from our sponsors, Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in for great food, drinks, live music, DJs, and karaoke as well at Southtown 101. Manscaped promo code Pub Sports, Lawnmower 4.0, and all the assortment of Manscaped manicuring products for guys. You can get them all at manscaped.com and get 20% off the purchase with the promo code Pub Sports. So check that out. And mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. We are here, football season. Sign up for an account. Get yourself ready for NFL, college football, CFL, and everything in between. Mybookie.ag, Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit. So check out mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. All right, let's get to it. We will get to best bets in just a second. But first, it is time for Jack of the Day.
Well, see you later.
All right, it is Jack of the Day time. I already mentioned Juan Soto early in the show against Zach Wheeler. I like that for a Jack of the Day candidate here in this one. Brandon Lau and Zunino and Franco against Pivetta are options in my mind for a Jack of the Day as well. It's hard to ignore Justin Upton against Kluber, who's had good numbers and 3 home runs off him. Now, we don't know how long Kluber's going to pitch. That's the only issue. You might only get one at bat for Upton against Kluber. So that's the only thing that I worry about with that. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's not a great slate for Jack of the Day candidates. Mookie Betts probably is worth a look for the Dodgers just because he's had a home run, an 8 for 22, 364 average against Drew Smiley. So that is definitely a direction you could go with as well. So that's about it. Light slate for me when it comes to home run props. Conor Mac, what do you got?
Yeah, I mentioned I got to find a number on Suarez, but 16 for 43, 6 bombs there. I look at 2 Giants. I'm trying to find value here. Posey's plus 600 and Belt's plus 500. Belt's got a homer. Posey's 5 for 7 off that. And the last one I was looking at was Kyle Seager plus 400. He's been good all year. I think he gets a Jack today. He's 2 for 4 with a homer off Garcia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Skee Profit's crib is immaculate. There's not a thing out of place in that beautiful mansion of his right there. Every pillow's fluffed up. There's not a speck of hair on any of the couches. There's not one little crumb of food or anything anywhere. I mean, it is just absolutely perfect looking, beautiful living room right there. Spotless, pristine is what that looks like. Skee Profit, go ahead. What do you like?
I'm glad you guys all approve of the crib. Best bet. Yeah, I'm not going to have a Jack of the Day. I know you guys have success with doing that stuff, but I'll just stay in my lane. Best bet, I'm between 2 games, but it was for sure going to be this game if the number didn't move, but it moved. I'll still use it. It's going to be Phillies and Nationals. First 5, under 4 is plus 100. It moved from the 4.5. It was 4.5 when we were talking about it earlier in the show. Maybe some guys took it, but that's going to be my best bet. Phillies Nationals first 5 under 4 at plus 100.
All right, Phillies Nationals first 5 under. Best bet for a Skee Profit. Conor Mac, what are you rolling with for best bet?
Yeah, that did move within the hour. I'm going to play it. I'll just give you it. I'm taking D-backs first 5 plus 155. But I'm going to this sleepy spot. I think Marquez pitches better. Give me the Rockies, Rangers, first 5 under 4.5, -115, or minus
right.
120.
All right,
depending on where you're at.
Rockies, Rangers, first 5 under 4.5. A best bet for Conor Mac here in this one. My best bet for tonight. This is a tricky one. It's a card that I'm lukewarm on it overall. I'm just going to go with the best of the bunch, and that's Baltimore, Tampa over 8.5 -120. Not many 8.5s left, only 1 or 2, but even at 9, I'll endorse it as well. So 8.5 -120 is what I got on that. 9, I still like it. We'll go Boston, Tampa Bay over 8.5. I think those teams can both get to 4 runs. I like Tampa in the game too, especially first 5 -1/2 a run in that one. Or you could even go with the full game money line split, because you're right. The Rays definitely the better. It's not even close. They have the much better bullpen right now. So it's one of those games where you really could look full game as well, and should have an advantage with the Rays late in the game. But I'll go Tampa, Boston over 8.5 -120. Best bet for this MLB Monday card. All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. We thank Skee Profit, who's with us every Monday, and will be for the rest of the MLB season at our new time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, for another Closing Time MLB show. Jimmy the Bag will be back tomorrow, of course, betting with the Bag. Yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Pub Sports Radio channel. Looking forward to that. It was fun doing the NFL preview videos with Jimmy. Check those out, the NFL futures videos. We did them division by division, Jimmy the Bag and me breaking down every division. So check those out on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. Still, I mean, I know we've had some college football last Saturday, but the majority of teams haven't started yet. So there's still value, and there's still time to check out the college football preview videos that Connor and I did as well. So check those out and get the info you need prior to the start of the year. We're going to have the debut of 4th and Gold on Saturday, the morning college football show, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right up till kickoff, 2 hours to get you ready for the day of college football Saturday morning. We're looking forward to that. And if you missed it earlier, the premiere of our Hitting the Books Monday football show. It'll be every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We had our premiere show today, breaking down the college football card for Thursday, for Friday, and then we looked ahead to a couple games on Saturday. Me, Conor Mac, and Grant Arnold. Grant had some connection issues, so he had to leave the show early, but he'll be with us every Monday as well, moving forward on that show. So looking forward to that as well. Check it out if you missed it earlier today. All right, we're done. We out. Skee Profit, thanks. For Skee Profit, Conor Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow right here once again for the Closing Time Show, MLB style, right here on Pub Sports Radio.